Hey everyone, my guest today is Jeff Kruszyna, the conservative fundraising architect behind over $100 million in campaign success. Jeff is the CEO of JMK Victory, a direct response marketing agency specializing in conservative political fundraising. Over the past 20 years, Jeff has helped campaigns, PACs, and organizations raise over $100 million using direct mail tactics that consistently outperform digital channels. Post 9/11, Jeff pivoted from computer science to political consulting, and now he's an AAPC award winner, Phi Kappa Theta graduate, and thought leader in the Patriot economy. Based in Loudoun County, Virginia, Jeff is also a dad, Packers fan, and leader of a Christian cigar group. Welcome to the show, Jeff. I want to thank you for being here, and I was wondering if you could tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you're doing.
Sure. So my name is Jeff Kruszyna. I'm perpetually known as Jeff K because of the lovely Polish last name that I can thank my grandparents for. I have spent the last 20 years working in Republican politics and conservative campaigns, specifically direct mail fundraising. So good old fashioned postal mail that, go outside, check your mailbox and get and hopefully, the biggest part of it is opening, getting those folks to take a hold of that envelope, open it, read the compelling letter and copy in there about your campaign or your cause, and most importantly, contribute. Sending back a check or credit card info, all that good stuff. But so over the last 20 years, I've been able to, along with my great clients, raise over $100 million for everything from Republican political campaigns, conservative movement organizations, veteran nonprofits, Christian charities, and pretty much anything you can think that kind of falls into the Christian conservative patriotic ecosphere. But happy to join you today and have a great discussion.
Yeah. Yes, I get some of that mail, and I always love all the work that's put into the fundraising effort, even just the envelopes. I feel like it just makes you feel a little bit special. That you're
Exactly. It's
mail.
definitely, that tangible, physical appointment viewing, as my business partner likes to say, versus, an email or a text message now that, Apple has their iOS, spam folder update. You have to physically do something with it. So it is that kind of one-to-one connection there.
Right. Well, and also if you have an envelope, you're going to open it.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah. All right. So you have a pivot story. And so
Sure.
I went to school for environmental science and political science, but I kind of pivoted into politics. And I see that
Sure.
you were doing computer science,
Mm-hmm.
or you were a computer science student and ended up in political fundraising, and that you also have a 9/11 pivot story. So can you tell
Yes.
the audience about that?
Sure. Yeah. No, it was quite the ordeal. I went to college up in New York at SUNY Stony Brook, which is about 45 minutes from Ground Zero. I was walking between classes on that Tuesday morning, and all of a sudden started hearing folks kind of panic. Didn't know what was going on. I asked someone like, "What's going on?" And they had said, planes had hit the Twin Towers in New York. So, ran to the student activity center and watched on repeat as, the footage of the second plane hitting the second tower, and then all the reports, what happened, hit the other plane, in hitting the Pentagon, the one in Pennsylvania, Shanksville. And it was at that moment that, I sort of, had that gut punch where computer science and tech wasn't going to be, my calling. It was, all right, like I've got to do something for my country. And, that led me pretty quickly to switching from computer science to political science, completely different science. But I was at that point, getting involved in, college Republicans, local campaigns, really paying attention to world events. Something I hadn't really, at 18 at the time, like wasn't really, political. My family growing up, kind of blue collar conservative, not really, watching the talking heads on TV that you do these days. But yeah, it was on that Tuesday. I still remember, walking on campus and hearing the news, and then having friends that volunteered in the aftermath in the rescue effort, and led me to work for veteran charities that help build homes, help paralyzed veterans, all that are post 9/11 veterans from
Yeah.
Iraq, Afghanistan, wherever else now. First responders, like all that definitely hits home for me. Being a New
Hmm.
Yorker, an American, of
Yeah.
course, but really that kind of the outflowing of patriotism we saw on September 12th, 2001 is something that I think we really could, use more of now that we're, so polarized and divided as a
Hmm.
country. But yeah, that was my big pivot, thinking I was going to go, work for Microsoft or tech
Yeah.
career, and found my way into politics and then direct response fundraising for, movement, conservative organizations, and Christian charities too.
Yeah. Wow. I can't even imagine being in that area during that time. I hear stories about it, and I remember watching it from Iowa, and there is something about New Yorkers that there is like a New York pride that
Sure.
I feel like people have, especially if they were there during
Mhm.
certain times. I know a lot of people are worried that it's getting lost now,
Mhm.
but I've talked to several people from New York that there is just
Yeah, I mean,
that
if you
pride.
told 18-year-old Jeff that for the 25-year anniversary, New York City would go from Rudy Giuliani and America's mayor to Zoran Mamdani, a socialist, communist, Muslim extremist, who
Mhm.
is already in a matter of weeks destroying the city that
Yeah.
Giuliani and Republicans built.
Yeah.
And especially after that whole sense of the New York's finest, New York's bravest, the men and women of the New York NYPD and FDNY.
Mhm.
It's really kind of sad to see, but I think a lot of folks have already, like, I mean, I live in Virginia now. Have
Yeah.
moved away from New York for
Yeah.
one reason or another. But yeah, there's still that kind of inner pride of like, all right, no, like we are number one, and you see that with a President Trump, who's a New
Mhm.
York guy himself,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
a America First fighter, that's not gonna put up with anybody who's gonna put down our country. Even, I mean,
Mhm.
it was awesome. I'm not a big hockey guy, but watching the the men's team win the gold for the first time
Yeah.
in my lifetime, because Miracle on Ice was a little bit before me. But yeah, I mean, just the outpouring of patriotism and pride in the country, and then seeing
Yeah.
having worked in politics, the radical left sort of
Yeah.
shun that is sad to see. But I think we're winning.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so strange that suddenly to one side patriotism is a bad thing.
Right.
But while we're talking about it, what is the patriot economy?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why should
Yeah.
conservative business owners care?
Sure. I mean, ever since sort of the really it got exacerbated during the COVID time, where
Mhm.
big corporations kind of went woke. So the most notorious one was Bud Light with the transgender activist not knowing their brand. But really, it's
Yeah.
become these kind of patriotic businesses. So think Black Rifle Coffee, Patriot Mobile, Birch Gold, those
Yeah.
sort of companies that have a pride in the country, made in America,
Mhm.
supporting causes. Folks like 7 Weeks Coffee that support pro-life crisis pregnancy centers. It's not only giving you know getting a good product, but also supporting a mission that aligns with
Yeah.
your values, and not supporting big woke companies that have abandoned that kind of patriotism and love of our country.
Yeah. Yeah, I always try to support companies that do that, and you can find a lot of them on Shopify. I don't
Mm-hmm.
not to plug anything. I'm not
Sure.
sponsored by anybody like that, but I do think that people will go out of their way to support businesses that reflect their views, and it can be
Mm-hmm.
hard to find those businesses.
Yeah, I
But
mean, their
yeah.
estimates have 76.5 billion patriotic consumers that
Mhm.
are out there, and we're helping to speak to them via good old fashioned postal mail. The kind of
Yeah.
target donor demographic that are giving to our causes are the same sort of consumers that are drinking coffee, need a cell phone
Yeah.
service, all the things that we take for granted. There are
Yeah.
companies that are kind of standing in the gap there, and aligning your dollars with your values is paramount these days.
Hmm. I'm trying not to pivot like too hard. 'Cause I tend to ask questions that don't relate to the previous one, but
Sure.
yeah, anyways. Um, all right. So what do you think is something that the mainstream media gets wrong about conservative fundraising?
I mean, I think they believe that it's all the smoke filled back rooms, and these mega corporations that
Mhm.
are funding campaigns, when really it's your grassroots grandma in Iowa giving $5 a month to
Mhm.
support the Heritage Foundation or America First Policy Institute, or their local
Yeah.
school board or congressional candidates. Really, and it's been that way since really the 1960s, in the advent of kind of this grassroots direct mail. And obviously, more recently, compared to mail, you've got email and now text messaging and social media ads and all that are, again, driving those small dollar contributors into giving the campaigns or causes. I mean, even
Uh-huh.
Barack Obama in 2008 uh, innovated with the raffle of like contribute $2 to win lunch with Senator Obama at the time. And now
Right.
we're seeing Trump with the MAGA hats and things like that,
Yeah.
where you're proud to rock a red MAGA hat,
Yeah.
or again, buying products from companies that align with your views, that have
Mhm.
an American flag on them, which
Yeah.
should be something that everyone supports.
Right. Right. Yeah, I was explaining to my husband that about the mega hats. I'm like, but if I buy them from the Trump campaign website, that helps the Trump campaign. If you buy them
Correct.
from Amazon, they might be
Right.
cheaper, but it's not
Right. They're not.
contributing to the Trump
Yeah,
campaign, you know?
they're the knockoffs, and more likely than not made in America.
Right. Right. So, yeah. Yeah, every time I see something different that catches my eye, I got to
Oh,
get
sure.
one.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, not to completely rabbit trail, but the data of like, okay, like you've now bought a hat, like now you're gonna see ads popping up all over the place, and
Mhm.
emails, and maybe even a direct mail letter or two.
Right.
But like I said,
Yeah.
our target donors are a lot older.
Yeah. That makes sense. So, um, do you what do you know about, like, Act Blue versus Win Red?
Sure,
This is completely random, but,
sure,
Act Blue, I know you go ahead.
sure.
Yeah.
So WinRed is more of a just a merchant processor,
Okay.
where like processing credit cards, and obviously aligned with Republicans,
Mhm.
and it came out obviously after Act Blue was sort of
Okay.
the 800-pound gorilla on the left. But really, Act Blue is as a bundling platform where you can go and support a slate of hard leftist campaigns. Now there's all sorts of stories out there about scandals with Act Blue, and if
Yeah.
it's false contributors, or I mean, we always
Mhm.
talk about dead people voting Democrat and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of smoke and potentially fire around, whether it's China or other, foreign entities kind of funneling money
Mhm.
through that channel. I know, there's active investigations into that, so I'll
Yes.
let the proper channels do what they do. But the big difference is WinRed is more of a just credit card processing,
Okay.
and versus Act Blue obviously does the credit card processing, but they're more of like a bundling operation to
Okay.
funnel money to their side candidates.
Yeah.
with very similar
Yeah.
names, so Act Blue and Win Red.
Right, right. Yeah, that is a huge difference,
Mhm.
um, if you think about it. But yeah, I remember there was a scandal with, I think it was Eliz or I don't think. I know it was Elizabeth Warren. She posted, "Oh, do you wanna
Mhm.
donate to the Palisades fire
Mhm.
victims?" And some of that money kicked back to
Mhm.
her campaign. It's like,
Oh yeah,
well,
I mean
that's
Gavin
crooked as
Newsom was
shit.
the number one offender on that. Like he
Mhm.
literally, took all that data and turned around, and I mean everyone knows he's trying to run for president.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, you think you're giving to the Palisades, and in reality, you're giving to his political organization.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's sad. That happens kind of across the board,
Mhm.
but more notoriously now with like you mentioned, Elizabeth Warren and yeah, Gavin Newsom, who wants to be president so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I just can't even imagine. Yeah, I don't believe in lizard people, but, like, if they're real, he's one of them for sure. But anyways,
Yeah.
so what's the biggest fundraising mistake that you see campaigns making in 2026?
I mean, ooh, that's a good one. I mean, there's a lot of kind of I'd say low hanging fruit.
Mhm.
Self-servingly, not spending the money early on to build a loyal following. So sort of there's two prongs to whether that's direct mail like I do or digital fundraising. Is you have to have the donor acquisition side, so prospecting for new folks, that those first time givers, and then the folks that have given that one time, asking them to giving them regular updates and asking them to continue to contribute at a higher and higher level.
Mhm.
So really it's the kind of, I'd say, the slow start a lot of times of the, like, I don't know if we should start, maybe we'll wait. And then you see in the kind of the fundraising numbers now where we're in the heat of a midterm election
Mhm.
cycle, and Democrat candidates have been out there since Trump won in
Yeah.
2024, raising money to kind of steal back Congress this November, and we're playing catch up too
Yeah.
much on our side. So I'd say the kind of slow start and not engaging early to kind of build that grassroots team, because not only are you getting that donor early, but if you're giving even $2 to a campaign, you're going to tell your friends that you're supporting this candidate, that they should too.
Yeah.
Tell your friends and family, like, you tell two people kind of thing. So
Mhm.
there's a great book actually by give credit where credit's due, by David Plouffe, who is Obama's campaign manager in '08, called The
Okay.
Audacity to Win. And he talks
Oh.
about the strategy they had of the low dollar donors versus kind of Hillary Clinton and the Democrat machine that had
Mhm.
all these super delegates and super high dollar donors. So Hillary's side basically, Cliff Notes version, had tapped out all their major donors because there are contribution limits. Whereas Obama had all these $2 and $3 and $5 donors that kept going and kept giving and kept giving, and you saw that like overwhelm the Clinton campaign. In starting in Iowa, and then it was obviously a brutal primary, but
Mhm.
President Obama obviously is president, and Hillary Clinton
Yeah.
is currently testifying before Congress about her husband's activities on an island.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to hear how that went. I thought that was supposed to be televised, and now suddenly it's not. Now, didn't that have something to do with, her being the candidate instead of Bernie Sanders in 2016?
Yeah,
Or
so
that
I
was
think again they kind of Trump was notorious for saying it's rigged,
Mhm.
because the system was rigged against kind of the anti-establishment, and you're seeing it on the left. Bernie was shut out a lot of places,
Yeah.
and yeah, they rigged the rules with, again, the Democrats on their side do have super delegates to kind of put their thumb on the scale.
Uh-huh.
And all those, super delegates are people that owe their political career to Bill Clinton. So
Yeah.
that's how they kind of, boxed him out from, you know, what probably would have been, the, Obama 2.0, but in a older, whiter, Jewish Democrat,
Yeah.
socialist.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, a lot. I used to say that Hillary Clinton was the worst modern day political candidate. Just having 2008 and 2016 kind of teed up for her, and
Yeah.
losing to Obama, and then obviously to Trump. But Kamala, when it comes to fundraising, I mean, she burned through over $1 billion in 100 days,
Yeah.
and that was a epic fail. So I think Kamala had a Hillary hold my beer type moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh. Oh, that would have been a nightmare. Who do who do you think would have been better, Biden or Hillary as president?
For between those two, I mean, Biden I think was or is senile.
Hmm.
So I mean, as much as don't like Hillary, she she wants to enrich herself
Yeah.
and and be in power. But I think she would have, of the two, if I gun to my
Yeah.
head, had to pick one, I'd say Hillary is at least competent.
Yeah. Yeah. I think about that sometimes where I look back and it's like, man, the person that I thought would be the worst now actually looks like the better option if I had to swap
Yeah, I mean,
people
and
out.
as time goes on, you're seeing the AOCs and this new band of Democrat socialists, whether it's
Hmm.
Mamdani or Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, who made clowns of themselves at the State of the Union this
Hmm.
week.
Yeah.
It's just getting more radical,
Yeah.
which I think on our side is a good thing because we seem way more reasonable. When
Yeah.
we're supporting our country. And I mean, the highlight of Trump's State of the Union for me was the stand if you think that your job should be to support American citizens, not illegal
Hmm.
aliens. And all the Democrats were either asleep or sat on their
Yeah.
hands.
Yeah.
Like how, like if you've played footage of Hillary circa 20 years ago, or Obama even, they were
Hmm.
talking like a Republican would
Yeah.
nowadays about we're a sovereign country, protect our borders, supporting
Yes.
American citizens first. So I know before we started recording, you had said even Trump was part of the reason that brought you kind of into the political sphere,
Hmm.
and have kind of shaped your political outlook now.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah. I just think I'm worried about the 2026. I'm worried
Mhm.
about the midterms and how the GOP is going to perform because
Mhm.
they've great things have happened, but not really out of out of Congress or the Senate. And so I'm worried about the elections. But the one thing, we were talking about COVID earlier, and the other is the State of the Union. Do
Mhm.
you, regardless of how you think the
Mhm.
GOP candidate has performed, do you
Mhm.
want to vote for someone who wants to force vaccinations, force masking, and who would
Right.
rather stand up for illegal immigrants
Right.
than you? Why would you
Right.
vote for somebody like that?
Right.
And that's what we're
Exactly.
looking at.
Yeah, I mean that. I think we need more messengers like you, kind of saying that reasonable, uh, statement. Where I think Trump is a master showman, and the State of the Union just kind of showcased his ability. Whether you think of him as a stand-up comic
Mhm.
slash statesman slash whatever,
Yeah.
those little sound bites of the not standing for the mom of the slain Ukrainian girl,
Yeah.
or all these common sense, like pride in our country. I mean, these are 80-20, if not 95-5 type issues where if we message it correctly, and that's where the beauty of direct mail and
Mhm.
just kind of messaging is, like, you have to tell a compelling story, like
Yeah.
you get right to it of like, yes, like, do you think that you should, we have a republic, and that
Mhm.
you have liberties, you don't, the forced vaccine mandates or the masking of kids. I mean, I know, like, my son at the time was in second grade when the world
Mhm.
shut down. He's in eighth grade now. But the forced masking of kids, and being originally from New York and living, outside the Washington, D.C. bubble now, like
Hmm.
the arresting surfers and people on the beach and like all these crazy things you saw, in New York and California.
Yeah.
And but then you'd go to Florida or, basically any southern, red state. And it was like, yeah, this COVID thing's not actually, we're not participating in this down here. Like it's normal to
Right.
go out and go to a restaurant and, not be forced to wear a mask. I'm like, I had one of those fake masks that I would wear on a plane
Yeah.
that you could completely like basically see through.
Hmm.
But it was technically a mask by the, letter of the law.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing, everything coming out with whether it's all the, Fauci's lies or,
Yeah.
all the disinformation that we were fed. And yeah, with all the Maha like
Hmm.
crowd really kind of amping up all the,
Yeah.
all of the disinformation that, basically cost us. I think that that's how they were able, the left, I'm talking about how that's how I
Hmm.
believe the left was able to kind of steal and rig the election.
Yeah.
Was the, Biden was allowed to, stay at home in his basement
Yeah.
and had, the field staff ballot harvesting and kind of
Hmm.
cooking the books and rigging the rules to where, it was, it was close enough for them to be able to, fudge the numbers here and there
Yeah.
across a handful of precincts where, Trump in 2024, his, mantra was too big to rig. And
Yes.
that was another, thing that we had talked about right before you click
Hmm.
record. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was such a big margin that like even the left wing networks had to eventually,
Hmm.
uh, when it was incontrovertible, where they couldn't hold out anymore,
Yeah.
say that Trump was elected the 47th president. It wasn't quite the shock and awe of 2016 of the just utter disbelief,
Right.
but it was a close second for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Anytime I think about the 2016 election, I think about how they pan over the crowd at the Hillary event and they're all
Mhm.
crying, and I shouldn't laugh at people crying, but it's just like, I mean, like
Yeah.
she had balloons and stuff ready. Like
Oh
she
yeah.
had no idea she was going to lose that. And that's why
Yeah.
it's funny to me is that
Oh yeah.
she, she had thought she had it in the bag.
Yeah,
She's
they
so
had this
cocky.
whole like elaborate glass, like faux glass ceiling breaking balloon,
Hmm.
and they're both parties were in New York City because both are New York City
Yeah.
folks. I mean, a
Yeah.
couple blocks difference between where the Trump victory party was and where Hillary's kind of sad,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call that was. But yeah, it was crazy to think that was 10 years ago now. But
I know.
and Trump is
I know.
Trump is in the White House still.
Hmm. I know. I know. And I like that he pointed out, honestly, aside from getting the Olympics and America 250 and everything,
Mhm.
I think that that 4 years that he had off, he was planning the entire 4 years, just gearing
100%.
up to come back. And I almost think that that was, um, th-
I mean, you see
they,
it. Yeah. The, the difference between the 2016, kind of shock of him winning and then having to put together a government and using,
hmm
the Republican establishment to,
yeah,
fill out the cabinet and staff the government
yeah,
versus, yes, that 4 years kind of in the wilderness, so to speak, down in Mar-a-Lago, which is very nice, not the wilderness whatsoever. But the planning and vetting of having this team ready to go, and whether it's
hmm
Rubio or Hegseth or you name it, like his,
yeah,
my personal favorite, Lee Zeldin of New York,
yeah,
my former hometown congressman, longtime friend and client, doing a great job at EPA of all places,
yeah,
deregulating. But you're seeing there's not really any high level turnover of any cabinet
yeah,
official. There are some missteps here and there, but by and large, Rubio has, I love the meme. He's got,
yeah,
100 different jobs now. Um,
yeah,
and yeah, he's doing a phenomenal job at state. And then, Hegseth at the Department of War
hmm
it's quite a, Scott Bessett, who a lot of people had no clue who that was,
right,
now on the world stage, just a rock star
Oh
at the
yeah.
Treasury Department. Yeah, it's it turned from an SNL skit back in 2016 to Trump during the
Yeah.
State of the Union saying, "I know you may be tired of winning, but we're going to keep winning."
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, like that's kind of how it feels on this side. And I think for the average American, like, you know, it's a pride in like, yeah, that's right, we are number one. Like we beat Canada, whether it's on the on the ice or
Hmm.
having that pride in our country during the Olympics now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely that's the fun part. I think the only issue we're going to have, or the biggest issue I see, is the enthusiasm of Trump's not on the ballot, and
Yeah.
midterms generally historically go against the party that's in the White House. And like I mentioned, the fundraising disparity right now, where Republicans are playing catch up, and what I'm
Hmm.
trying to do with the company I lead and the campaigns I'm working on is trying to fill in that gap and play
Yeah.
catch up here, because mail and email and all these things are both fundraising mechanisms, but also messaging. So without the money, you're not going to get your message out. So it's a 2-for-1 kind of proposition.
Right. Right. That's I think they can pull it off. I mean, I think passing the SAVE Act would would help.
Yes,
I
100%.
hope they work on that a little bit. But while you were talking about the cabinet members, for the progressives, Scott
Mm-hmm.
Bessent I believe he's the highest ranking openly gay person that's
Yes.
been in politics so far. And so,
Yep.
and Trump historically has hired more females than
Mm-hmm.
previous
Right.
presidents too, and no
Yep.
one gives him credit for that. And
Right.
then I also see people criticizing like, oh, well, he's kind of just hiring these like talking heads, these media personalities to take
Mm-hmm.
these cabinet positions. And for that, I say, one, he can trust whoever they are, he can at least trust them and they're getting stuff done. Whereas before, he didn't really know who he was picking and didn't know enough about the people. And
Right. Yeah, I
in
mean, like that was the big knock on Pete Hegseth, was he was just a Fox News
right.
talking head. I'm like, he's an Ivy League educated,
Yeah.
combat veteran.
Yeah.
This is right out of, yes, he's good on TV, and there's a part of all of this that you have to be able to message what you're doing.
Hmm.
And I think in this day and age, whether it's TikTok or all the kind of attention economy stuff, you have to be able to publicly defend the policies. And whether it's Rubio or Hegseth or on down in the cabinet, pretty much every cabinet member is able to eloquently like speak to what's going on and how that's affecting every single person, whether
Yeah.
that's Maduro and the Venezuela thing, or closing the border, yeah on down the line. Like, no matter your issue, you have to have that kind of blend. No more deep state politician or bureaucrat that's in
Yeah.
a unnamed location that no one's ever heard of, uh, running the government. It's okay. You've got a TV camera on you 24/7.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, okay, so I'm wondering, what do you have a specific campaign that the direct mail like crushed, that made it work
Sure.
really
I
well?
mean, we had a recent one working with a campaign right now where on the initial, we were able to take a $25,000 initial investment and turn that into a six-figure, $100,000 return on investment. And that's all, one, knowing the message, the
Hmm.
issues. So on our side, it's heavy on the election integrity and illegal immigration,
Yeah.
and the economy now, the affordability issue, which ties into the illegal immigration and all that.
Hmm.
So really, taking that initial, investment to pay for, the lion's share of direct mail is that postage, the
Yeah.
stamp on that envelope, paying the government. Uh,
Yeah.
but to be able to take that and turn it into, a couple thousand new donors that we're going to, solicit on down, from now through the election, and Lord willing, the
Yeah.
campaign wins. But really, it's after a tough 2025 with the kind of uncertain economy and a lot of folks not understanding, the tariffs and
Yeah.
the implications on how that would actually help, the American businesses and everyday Americans, really, more money in
Yeah.
your pocket ultimately, and no tax on tips. The big beautiful bill that Trump
Yeah.
speaks to. One of the rare things Congress actually was able to get passed, and Trump signed into
Yeah.
law. And now I think we're going to start to see more of that, more of those wins, impact, your take home pay and the amount of money, in
Yeah.
your bank account. So really, it's the early success of that after a really tough 2025. Just I think charitable giving across the board, no matter left or right
Hmm.
or political or not. We saw all the reports from nonpartisan charity navigator type scores were
Yeah.
and we saw it, like when grocery prices are still high and gas prices were still
Yeah.
high, and uncertainty. I always like to say I know how to message in a good economy or a bad economy. The uncertain is the worst case, because some people kind of can see, the light at the end of the tunnel here, and
Yeah.
things turning around. But others, are looking at, their retirement and the market. And, after
Hmm.
4 years of Biden's auto pen in the White House, it was
Yeah.
definitely, a tough launch to 2025. But we're really seeing, and this particular mailer went out in January and just
Uh-huh.
crushed it. So I'm cautiously optimistic that Republicans now are getting more engaged
Yeah.
on the low dollar fundraising side too. So we're gonna close the gap, and we've always been able to
Yeah.
do more with less, whether that's running companies or political campaigns where we can play the underdog and win.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you have any tips for people who might not be able to recognize like a real fundraising attempt versus a scam one? Because I imagine there's mail scam fundraising things as well, right?
Sure. I mean, the biggest, I think, way to vet things now, and having worked in this industry for 20 plus years, I go back to we weren't even asking for credit cards, and some clients didn't have websites back 20-ish years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
We're now, I'd say, at least 75+% of people that are getting a piece of mail about whether it's an organization or a political campaign are going and Googling it, or
Yeah.
now using AI, Claude or ChatGPT or something, to do their own research, and see if one, if it's legit, and then two, that they're giving to the actual organization, whether that's directly to the campaign or a political action committee that's supporting the kind of candidates that align with your values.
Hmm.
It's that level of research now. More and more people. It's there are still scams out there, more so online
Yeah.
because of the kind of clickbait
Yeah.
kind of thing. But yeah, the barrier to entry too has become cost prohibitive for a lot of these
Hmm.
scammers, because one, it is a heavy lift to get started, and two, you're going to get found out, so you're not going to be able to like slash and burn, like it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
So mail is definitely becoming more of the gold standard for not just fundraising as it's been for decades, but
Yeah.
also for knowing that it's a legitimate organization, that your contribution is going to go to the right place.
Yeah. Yeah. So what can we expect as far as campaigning in the next like few weeks, do you think?
I mean, I think in the next few weeks, a lot is going to be, just the sound bites from the State of the Union, because we're
Hmm.
coming off that. We're recording this 2 days after the State of the
Yeah.
Union, and you're going to see a lot more of that. it's really, I think, the narrative and the number one issue is affordability
Hmm.
now, and I think you're seeing the White House. Not that they're pivoting away from immigration or any of these
Right.
other issues. They're still doing great work on that, but
Right.
ultimately, the affordability crisis that folks like a Charlie Kirk were big proponents of pushing the messaging on,
Hmm.
and turning point to this day is really trying to I think they've successfully made it cool to wear a MAGA hat and love
Yeah.
our country. But now
Yeah.
it's sort of like, hey, for those of us that are millennials or older, the idea of the first time home buyer average, I think, is in their 40s now, and I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah, I was fortunate to be able to get buy my first home with my wife when I was in my 20s, and then
Yeah.
subsequently move and buy a different house and all that, and start a family and all that. But affordability, I think, is going to be it's the issue the left wants to seize on.
Hmm.
But you're seeing with the Mamdani experiment that stealing people's money and giving out government money, which is our tax
Yeah.
dollars, only goes so far.
Yeah.
But things like no tax on tips and just reducing tax rates across the board are going to have a
Yeah.
meaningful impact. And letting bringing that barrier to entry for first time home buyers, young families, all
Hmm.
that. I think the narrative that we saw play out during the Biden years was, even in the bluest of blue cities where you have Democrat kind of dominance of, hey,
Yeah.
these whether it's minority communities or poor communities that they're closing down schools or YMCA's to house illegal migrants. And it's
Yeah.
like, hey, like, why are they getting
Yeah.
credit cards and all these
Yeah.
benefits? I'm an American citizen. I work hard, try to do the right thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, that living the American dream of the hard work and grit and that kind of blue collar conservatism that Trump, love him or hate him, kind of embodies the New York construction guy.
Hmm.
But he is
Yeah.
obviously he's always been a millionaire or a billionaire, but can relate to Joe Sixpack,
Yeah.
or however you want to phrase that.
Yeah. The one thing too is I think sometimes people don't realize that it can take longer than you would expect for it to, in just because a bill is signed or a law is signed, it doesn't mean it's taking effect that day. Sometimes
Right.
it just takes some time. And I was talking to someone earlier, and I know that the housing costs or apartment, whatever,
Mhm. Sure.
living costs are going down in Austin, Texas, but I
Mhm.
wasn't sure why. I just knew that they had built too many homes. Well,
Mhm.
he was explaining to me that um, they've like 15% of the population has self-deported or been deported,
Yeah.
and now it's not as much of a housing crisis. There's more resources available, so it
Mhm.
kind of reduces the competition, which makes the
Right.
prices fall.
Yeah.
And
Good old fashioned supply and demand.
right, right. And I think that sometimes there are certain things that people don't consider, that how immigration might be impacting our lives and stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Oh,
But
100%. And yeah, the self deportations is definitely, I think, something that doesn't get really as much attention because the
mhm,
media and the left want to seize on these ICE raids where they're going after the worst of the worst
yeah,
criminals. But really, like, hey, like, if you're here illegally and that, like, what's going to hit the fan, like,
right.
you might as well just pack a bag and go home.
Mhm,
And that's what to your point, with your friend in Austin, that's happening
mhm,
a lot these days. And you know
yeah,
another win for Trump.
yeah, yes. And the other thing is, just because you go back to whatever country you came from doesn't mean you can't return the right way.
Correct. Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah, I
have to
mean,
be permanent.
right. I'm like, as I guess, myself being a second generation American. So my grandparents came over, did the, post World War II, back to my Polish heritage,
Oh,
like
yes, yes.
came the legal way and, worked hard, and, now, built a life for their family. That's, now
Mhm.
my family, like, the whole idea of the American dream
Yeah.
was real. And I think, my grandfather, who's, the Kruszyna, the Jeff K,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, up and left his home country. Didn't know
Yeah.
anyone in America, but knew the freedom that existed here. And yeah, I'm here today because of, the sacrifice and chance he
Mhm.
took, and his hard work and all that, which again is the kind of that blue collar,
Yeah.
what used to be called the Reagan Democrat, in the 80s, or now, is that, the populist, Trump Republican, kind of thing.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to tell you about my sponsors real quick. Sometimes I get on a roll cleaning or gardening, and I need a boost but don't have time for a meal. Big Fork Brand's pork jerky is the perfect choice to keep my momentum, offering high protein snacks for on the go energy boosts. Not only do they offer pork jerky, but they also make pork sticks, bacon sausage, bacon hot dogs, and burger and hot dog sauces. Products come in a variety of delicious flavors, including Thai green curry and maple and brown sugar for the meat options, and gangster and Chicago fire for the sauces. I personally think the original flavor of the pork jerky hits just right after tackling a big chore. It's a little salty and very flavorful. My discount code gives you 20% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit bigforkbrands.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. Are you looking for a gift for a music lover, or maybe some apparel to show off your quirky side? Old Glory has you covered. With over 300,000 officially licensed items covering music, sports, entertainment, and pop culture, you're guaranteed to find the perfect item. They even have seasonal gear. My husband enjoys the Beatles and Led Zeppelin apparel, and I love the Billy Idol apparel. I even found items for my fellow plant enthusiasts. This family-owned superstore is known for their quality and customer service, offers free standard shipping on all orders, and orders are shipped the same day you purchase. My discount code gives you 15% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit oldglory.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. Looking for a game-changing way to improve your health? Zevo Life is the world's most nutrient-dense whole plant, packed with over 50% plant protein, essential amino acids, fiber, and antioxidants. Harnessing the best nature has to offer, Zevo Life nourishes your body while driving your performance, vitality, and overall well-being. Each serving is a concentrated source of clean, well-balanced nutrition designed to support modern lifestyles, and just 1 teaspoon a day supports your gut, boosts energy, and promotes healthier skin and hair. It's no wonder that it's receiving rave 5-star reviews. Step into a healthier future with a 30% discount and a 30-day risk-free guarantee by visiting zivo.life and using my promo code. To support my show and to receive 30% off your entire order, enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. What do you see the midterms looking like? What do you see as positive? What are you worried about?
Sure. I mean, certainly, I mean, I've hit the fundraising enough,
Mm-hmm.
but yes, the dynamics of, we've got everything kind of going against us historically, as far as the party in the White House losing seats and all these retirements, of sitting Republican members.
Yeah.
But I'd say the Senate map is promising, where, where there are openings, or races that, may be competitive. We've got some great candidates there. And there's a lot more opportunity to kind of defend and hold the Senate. The
Yeah.
House, having a 1 seat, difference, or,
Yeah.
it fluctuates given, the day by day. And, but, we really need to not, like, if we do lose the House, we can't, hand them a 40 seat majority, like even a
Yeah.
handful majority like they had during the Biden years, we were able to, hold back the crazy. But
Yeah.
if the Democrats do take back the House, I mean, we saw it during Trump's first term, the witch hunts, the impeachments, just the
Yeah.
theater and drama of all of it. That's the only thing that I think will slow down, the record pace that Trump is, obviously, going back to the 4 years he had
Hmm.
out of the White House, kind of planning and seeing how
Yeah.
quickly from day one of, all the executive orders, all the, deregulation that's happened,
Hmm.
they've game planned this out. So,
Yeah.
really, trying to do our best for what I do on the fundraising side to kind of
Hmm.
to close the gap and make us as competitive as possible, even with all the wins going against us.
Yeah. 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 Do you know about the redistricting? Like, did I know Jasmine Crockett lost her district, right? Did Al Green as well?
So he's running in a different district now.
Okay.
So I mean, yes, there is a lot of like Texas obviously redistricted, and I
Hmm.
think we're supposed to, in theory, gain 4 or 5 Republican seats there. So
Uh,
Crockett hopefully will be the Senate nominee on the left, and we'll see. I mean, their primary is coming up in a matter of days now, so we'll see what
uh-huh.
happens in Texas.
Okay.
But I mean, even here in Virginia, we're seeing. I mean, Spamberger gave the Democrat response to Trump's State of the Union,
Yeah.
and I mean she ran as a moderate and
Yeah.
governing as a hard leftist, introduced 50 new taxes. We're about to have a ballot referendum here for, to undo the districts that we already have by a nonpartisan commission to give,
Okay.
if that passes and courts don't strike it down, although I think right now there's an injunction possibly
Uh-huh.
holding them back, but they're going to have a 10-1. There's 11 seats in Virginia,
Yes.
so they've
Yeah.
all but one Republican. They basically districted out of a seat, and I like. There's one district that's literally shaped like a scorpion that goes from Northern Virginia outside Washington D.C., where I live, all the way down into Southern
Mhm.
Virginia, where actually my business partner lives in a very Republican county. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you're about to have like if we don't stop this, you're going to have like a progressive socialist, just awful liberal Democrat uh,
Yeah.
who doesn't like the whole idea of congressional districts are as our founding fathers wanted was so
Yeah.
that you're representing your neighbors and their interests, and
Yeah.
the what works for the suburbs of DC is different than farming in rural communities in
Yeah.
different parts of the state. And but again, it's the election elections have consequences, and
Yeah.
Republicans, here locally in the state I live in and have lived in for 20 years now, Virginia, just did an awful job. And that
Yeah.
we're seeing the fruit of just a poor operation by Republicans, where Spamberger on down are gonna trying their darndest to destroy the state, while those of us still here are trying to be their resistance and claw
Mhm.
back some semblance after again Glenn Youngkin came in on this whole Parents Matter movement
Yeah.
during Biden's time in the White House, and did a fantastic job, left our state with a massive surplus.
Yeah.
And that still doesn't stop the Democrats from passing additional taxes on things like Netflix and
Yeah.
DoorDash, and like just absurd amount of taxes and anti
Yeah.
Second Amendment stuff, and on down, just Democrat
Yeah.
wish list of craziness.
Yeah. Didn't your electricity bills like skyrocket as well?
Yeah, I mean everything. In fact, more recently, there was a big story that may tie back to your original
Yeah.
kind of career path of the water quality and the debacle of
Yeah.
what Democrat rule and with the just sewage pouring into the
Mm-hmm.
Potomac, which was never obviously crystal clear, but literally
Yeah.
like feces just contaminating. And that's where that's one of the major, I mean, it is the major water supply for, the northern part
Yeah.
of my state.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I mean, sheer incompetence. I don't know if
Yeah.
this is true or not, but I heard that like one of the I guess higher ups in the DC Water Authority previous job was in Flint, Michigan, which I'm just like, you can't make this up. Like really, like this is awful. Like how
Yeah.
do we do this? And it's
Yeah.
seeing these talking heads that have they're a doctor of whatever, but like doctor of like philosophy, not
Yeah.
of like
Yeah.
environmental science or like anything applicable
Yeah.
to the position. And I'm like, can we just not do this whole DEI like BS of like the best
Yeah.
qualified person, regardless of their gender, color, creed,
Mm-hmm.
religion, whatever?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want, a kid
Yeah.
flying my airplane. Like, I want a trained pilot, like
Right.
preferably a military veteran who's like flown, thousands and thousands of hours. I want the best of the best. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's that kind of common sense that I think, back to Trump in the State of the Union, where he just hits on the left, in their
Yeah.
craziness of this is common sense. Like you want safe
Yeah.
streets, you want good schools, you want low taxes. That's just
Right.
common sense. It's not, the transgender craziness or,
Yeah.
whatever social experiment the left is trying to force on us.
Right. Right. So, like as a water operator, like we have to go to classes, get certifications and everything. And Flint, Michigan is brought up all the time as the perfect example of someone
Right.
neglecting a very, very important
Right.
job.
Yeah.
And now we have to inject phosphate into our
Mm-hmm.
drinking water to protect the
Mm-hmm.
pipes because of Flint, Michigan. And I
Yeah, no,
mean,
I'm getting
just
an education on all of this more recently because
yeah.
of what's happening locally. And I'm like, I mean, I took some, like geology and earth science type classes in college for requirements, but I'm a political guy and marketing.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you see the footage of sewage being poured into
Yeah.
the Potomac because of just sheer incompetence, I'm like, oh, that's just so gross. And like you find out
Yeah.
all these, this I don't even like, yeah, I don't even know how to explain the clown show of like
Yeah.
things that had to transpire to get to this point
D-
where
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think we
Oh
need to,
gosh.
bring you to DC and have you oversee the water.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'd love it. Well, I'm worried that we're going to DC just for vacation in September, and then I heard that it might not even they're like, "Well, we're hoping everything will be back to normal by the summer." And I'm like, "Better be." It
Oh,
better be
with
looking
the
nice.
water, yeah, no, it was.
Yeah.
There were reports. There's like, oh, by Monday everything will be fine. I'm like, I'm no scientist, but uh, yeah.
That's yeah.
But I mean, DC is great. Certainly, all the history and the monuments and
Mhm.
all that. So
Yeah.
definitely, recommend coming. September's
Yeah.
better because it is a swamp, so it is very very warm and humid here in the summer
Yeah.
months.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I was looking up the best times, and I like it when it's warm, but my husband doesn't. So I'm like, all right, let's compromise. September seems like a
Yeah, it
good
starts
time.
cooling off, and then Congress will be here off
Yeah.
of their summer vacation.
Oh
So
yeah.
you can do the whole go tour the house and do all that kind of stuff too while
Yeah.
they're there's members of Congress roaming around
Yeah.
and not vacant
Yes.
offices.
Yeah. Is there vacation from August 1st to September 1st or
I mean,
I can't remember.
I'd have to look, but generally, yeah, that's when there's like
Somewhere around there.
the kind of in district time is what they call it. But yeah, we all say summer vacation, where
Okay.
they're
That makes
back home
sense.
in district, and it's an election year too, so they'll probably have a uh,
Yeah.
longer break. But
Yeah.
to your point with the Save Act, we need to get that through, and that's more
Yes.
now focused on the Senate because the House has
Mhm.
passed it a couple different times.
Right.
So it's all eyes on the Senate now, and if we can overcome the current Senate rules with the filibuster to
Mhm.
pass common sense like voter ID, like I needed
Yeah.
to show a photo ID to get on a plane to go to a conference I was at last week.
Right.
Um, you know
Yeah.
where you have these again, you're talking about Newsom, where he says he can't find his birth certificate or things like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, like, dude, like you're trying to pander so hard that, like, okay, well, if you can't find your birth certificate, then I guess you can't be president. Like, really?
Right.
Like, this is
Well,
the like
good
okay,
point.
yeah, the everyone has an ID to
Yeah.
some level. You need it for so many things. I mean, back to New York, with
Yeah.
the snowstorm they just had, and
Yes.
Mamdani came out
Yes.
and said, like, well, you can work and be a snow shoveler, but you do need an ID to do that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, you need an ID to like shovel snow, but not to vote. That seems
Right.
weird.
Right.
Or you can be like, the kids in my neighborhood who, when we had a snowstorm, literally, it was great. They had like little like paper business cards that they were slipping under doors with like
Oh.
QR codes and stuff of I'll come, shovel and Venmo me money. I was like, this is great. Like,
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
ethic,
Perfect.
ingenuity, and marketing.
Yeah.
I loved it. I'm like, hey, like, you got me at the QR code in your Venmo. Like, I can just text
Yeah.
you and you're going to come and do it. Awesome.
Yeah. Yes.
But
It's
yeah,
fun to
yeah.
it's fun to see kids that are ambitious like that. Our
Oh,
neighbor
yeah.
boy two doors down, I'll watch him shoveling snow and he's just having a heck of a time out there. Like a
Oh,
fun
yeah.
time. He's having a
Yeah.
good time. Like, oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's awesome to see that at a young age where
Yeah.
it's like, hey, like, you're going to save money and like, you're going to,
Yeah.
buy a bike, a computer, whatever the kids
Yeah.
want these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's yeah, that's where I'm
Yeah.
like hopeful in the next generation of like,
Yes.
okay, like, when you learn about taxes now, like, and how
Yeah.
much the government takes. Like, I remember
Yes.
my, first job at 14, not understanding, like, okay, like, I know what I'm
Mhm.
getting paid, minimum
Yeah.
wage by the hour. And then it's just like, what is FICA and what is all these
Yes.
other things? And it's like, oh, well, the government's taking, a quarter to a third of it for all
Yeah.
these things. And like, I remember asking my mom, I'm like, Social Security, I'm 14. Like, what?
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, it's part of the whole thing of, when you get to be, grandma, grandpa age, like, you get your Social Security back, which we're probably
Right.
not going to get because
I know.
incompetent politicians have stolen that
Yeah.
long ago.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that's the big beautiful bill though, the with
Mhm.
the overtime. I mean,
Yep.
that's cuz once you work so much overtime,
Mhm.
like you get so much taken out of your paycheck
Yeah.
that's like,
And
what am I
no
even
tax.
doing this for?
Yeah, and I mean, no tax on Social Security too. So I
Yeah.
mean, Social
Yeah.
Security tax is, I mean, you've paid all these taxes all through
Yes.
your working career, and then
Yeah.
like thinking back to when my grandparents were still with us, like, yeah, they'd be like, the money I'm getting back from the tax dollars I've paid over the course of
Yeah.
50 years of my work life now is getting taxed again. Thank you, Bill
Yeah.
Clinton. That was actually
Yeah.
during the Clinton years where the kind of double tax came in, but that was
Yeah.
another kind of win on the Trump big beautiful bill.
Yeah.
And if we can get the Save America, now it's called the Save America Act because they
Yes.
added in the citizenship angle on the census as well as part of it.
Okay.
Because that's another kind of big thing longer term is that the apportionment of congressional districts is based on population. And if the
Right.
census is counting, as the left says, undocumented people or illegals, that's what's keeping blue states, those seats in blue states instead of,
Yeah.
Florida, Texas, on down, that should have probably gotten more seats the last time around in 2020.
Yes.
Trump tried his darndest to for the 2020 census to get that question on there. It
Yeah.
seems common sense that, we're counting American citizens, not illegals. And
Right.
hopefully to your earlier point on self-deportations, hopefully that's
Mhm.
a positive sign too, because you
Yeah.
can't count people who are not here anymore too, no
Right.
matter their,
Right.
status. But yeah, it's all part of, the need to get Congress to step up and do their job, because that's another thing that kind of plays in our, disadvantage is, well, yeah, Trump's there, he's fixing all the things, but we also know after 4 years of Biden that all the things Trump was able to do, executive order and executive action wise, can be undone by the next, Democrat or, next person that occupies the White House. Whereas, we're still stuck with Obamacare because that passed. And I'm like, I know personally, my health insurance premiums went up 50% from last year to this year. And that's all because of the subsidies ran out in Congress. But, the big health insurance companies are going to, pass that on to all of us that are paying those premiums. And as an employer, I'm, double whammy, but it's sort of like, that's also why we fight, like, to elect the right people to, like, actually write the laws and fix what's broken. So it's, getting the right people and partnering with, what I do. And there's plenty of other great, consultants that I work with hand in hand that do all the other areas of political campaigns or fundraising to, help the good guys win.
Yes. And I mean, we need to be electing people that will codify Trump's executive orders so that they can't be undone by the next Democrat.
And the SAVE Act is I think right now the focus, and that is a crucial thing with the voter ID and the citizenship. And the whole filibuster debate, whether it's, nuking the filibuster or making them do the standing filibuster and get all these, geriatric Democrats to actually stand up and have to, like, debate. If they actually followed the letter of the law of the filibuster and, all, whatever it is, 47 Democrats, although I don't know, Fetterman seems somewhat reasonable. If every Democrat, got up and spoke twice, which is what the legalese is, after that debate time, if it takes weeks or a month or however long, then it just goes to a simple vote, and Republicans have 53 senators right now, and we can afford to lose, 3 of them because we also have Vance as the tiebreaker. But it's all the polling, like whether it's illegal immigration, voter ID, is a 75-80% of both parties approve. I mean, same thing, girls and or boys and girls sports. That isn't, that doesn't matter Republican or Democrat. Like, it's a fairness thing, and vast majority want common sense and fairness, whether that's taxes or, don't want, boys and girls locker rooms. That just is craziness.
Yep. Is there anything else that you would like the audience to know? I would certainly like to offer anybody listening, a free strategy session. So you can find me on LinkedIn, or if you have trouble spelling my very Polish last name, I also got getjeffk.com. That goes right to my calendar. So literally getjeffk.com. And you can book a free strategy session on Zoom with me. Happy to, talk to anyone, whether it's the Patriot economy, Republican politics. I'm a big Green Bay Packers fan. If you want to talk football, cigars, all those things, but again, if you're considering running for office or work at a nonprofit or just want to bounce some ideas off me, feel free to reach out. I'm all over all the social medias, but either JMK Victory is my company, or getjeffk.com is nice and simple. Good. Perfect.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This has been great. Definitely love the variety of different topics and politics and whatnot. It's my day job, so definitely passionate about it. So appreciate you for all that you do. And if you're in DC and want to, fix our water problem while you're here, that'd be awesome.